just the bottom text again with what Avery was saying, I think. Um, yeah, sexism, racism, homophobia, disclaimers. Even the TFR has its problems. The cohort TFR is the most accurate. It is, in fact, precise. It tells you exactly how many babies per age cohort were born, but unfortunately, it tells you that after it has all happened. Thus, we can have a precise cohort or complicated total fertility rate for all the American women who have already passed the age of childbearing, uh, childbearing, but it is the period TFR which we use mostly here because it can tell us something about the present and the future rather than just about the past. It measures how many babies 1,000 women would have had by the end of childbearing age if they bore children at the current prevailing fertility rates for women at each individual year of age today. That is, the period TFR stipulates that women age 30 today, when age 40, have children at the same rate that women age 40 today are having babies. Of course, we don't know that for sure, which is one reason demographers argue about the future. A case has been made by demographer Norman Ryder of Princeton, for one, that the period TFRs may be misleading us slightly because younger women are not having babies today will have them later at a time what higher rates than is now the same among women in their 30s or early 40s. Even if so, Ryder says it only tends to move the TFR from 1.8 to 1.9. This by no means impossible, although I would argue with on several grounds. The case against, remember, the period of TFR is already key to women up to age 44, women who are already in their 20s in the turbulent, value-changing 60s, who are in their 30s in the 70s, and in their early 40s in their early 80s. Those are women who lived through our cultural revolutionary tumult and still have time to try and have children later in life if they felt that they had missed out on a good thing. Insofar as they did, it is already reflected in the period TFR used here. What reason is there to expect a truly meaningful bump of births to order women? What will 40-year-old woman in 1990 know or feel that 40-year-old woman didn't know in 1986? Moreover, there are indications now that fertility in the teenage brackets and in the 20 to 30 age brackets in the US is beginning to fall further, and that could push down the period fertility rate. Some demographers, Avery for one, believe these trends will likely yield greater rates of women who will end up bearing 1 or 0 children, thereby pushing down fertility following the European model, where TFRs are lower in the US. The Census Bureau middle-level fertility series of projections was 2.1 until 1984, 10 years after the TFR had fallen to 0 to 1.8. Can't read, I guess. The most recent census middle-level projections published in 1984 used a 1.9 TFR, the first time a census middle-level projection went below replacement value. Even that was a close call, says census officials. It could have been 1.8. The average TFR of the 10 latest years for which official data have been published is 1.796. In fact, the next set of census projections currently in preparation will almost surely have a middle-level TFR of 1.8. Provisional monthly birth data from the National Center of Health Statistics through September of 1986 are already 1 to 2% lower than census projections. The 1986 TFR should, in fact, be slightly under the 1.815 World Bank/UN numbers used in this book for constant fertility projections over time. The latest provisional rate for 1986 was 1.80. In any event, as mentioned in the prior footnote, no reasonable combination of higher side immigration estimates or higher side TFR recalculations brings up to the functional equivalent of 2.1 children per woman necessary for replacement over the long term.